Hey everyone, welcome back to another Anime Kingdom manga review. See by the title below, yes, this is on chapter 214 of Shokugeki no Soma, and yes, this is finally the chapter that we get to see the finishing results of this battle between Nene and Soma, and pretty much to like what most of us, many of us pretty much anticipated and predicted, myself included. Soma ends up winning this one, and this is where it gets kind of like I was not expecting it to go this way. I didn't expect it, Soma to win because of the temperature. Come on, did you expect that? Because I honestly did not expect it. I thought it was just going to be something like, tradition ends up being amazing, but Soma creates this crazy ass dish that it just destroys everything about tradition. While it still is a main thing about it, because of the reasons why she ends up losing is because of tradition, it ends up being more of because it is about the temperature. And you get this whole part, of course, with Alice and Hayama going scientist mode and kind of giving us a huge, explanation, kind of going over my head and everything about it. But you kind of pretty much, I kind of understood it in pretty much that, Soma ended up winning because of his adaptability. We always know, we always see that Soma literally is like, he's super adaptable, and he can literally, just like how Ishiki says in this with honestly a good explanation as well, is that Soma is always in the diner, he's always caring to the customers, and he's always playing everything by ear. So if something changes, he's able to adapt right there on the fly. And we've seen this numerous times with Soma, including with like a good, a good example is when Soma ends up going against Subaru, and he pretty much literally, so Subaru doesn't know what he's doing exactly, he just changes straight up on the fly. He just adapted and was able to change his recipe over and over again. And that's where we see where Soma ends up shining, because of his experience in the diner, because of just how he is. He's always able to adapt, he's always able to change right there on the fly, even in these high pressure situations like a Shokugeki, because that's where Nene ends up asking him like, how are you able to do this in this kind of life or death match and everything, to which of course Soma ends up saying, well, that's how it always is when he's in his diner, trying to give it to the, his food to the customer. It's always a life and death match to him. So that's why Ishiki pretty much literally says that Nene was going to lose straight from the start because of who her opponent was, because of how, for her at least, pretty much it's all about tradition. That's why I said that this is, even though it wasn't because of the way I thought it would be, it still ends with her losing because of tradition, because she was always taught one way. That's the problem with tradition, is that you're always following that same path, that same, technique, that same way that's been learned for generations. And it makes sense, because lots of the times that way is the best way, obviously. But for this case, I guess they didn't teach her that, this was never a case for her family or something when they end up making Soma. But she ends up, of course, losing because she just did it the same way, the normal way. She did not notice a change in temperature, unlike Soma. Well, he didn't really notice. He didn't know it was because of the temperature. So at least we know it's not Soma going completely just genius mode here. He just, he noticed that there was a difference in the aroma and everything, and because of that, he was able to not use the first flower, but use third flower, unlike, with Nene. She was always taught first flower is the best one. It creates the best results for Soba and everything, and thus, because of that, she ends up just doing it the same exact way, and normally it would be great, but because of the temperature, the aroma and the taste were just not on point as it usually would be. And that's why, of course, it was pretty cool for the judge to go and say, try the dish. And she's like, why do I have to try his dish? And she's like, no, try your dish. And she knew exactly what she was, how Nene was going to react to it and everything, and ends up noticing, yeah, it's not up to par, it's different. And of course, the judging ends up going, and we do get to see that Soma wins. And this is where the last page got me, because, come on, I've been wondering, where the hell are the foodgasms? The judges didn't have them. Is this a new change for the manga and everything? No, it's not, because guess what? I knew a lot of people were, wanting this as well. Guess what? You got what you wanted, because Nene ends up just stripping because of the foodgasm when she tries his food, and you get, all I have to say for this is, that ass. That's all I gotta say. Because honestly, I wasn't expecting it, because just how Okay, I can't lie. I was a little bit. I was expecting like, are we finally gonna get a foodgasm and it's gonna be Nene? And yes, it was, and we get to see a nice, nice pose of her nude with her ass just like dead ass moment kind of thing, and that was the end of the chapter. Overall, I ended up enjoying it a lot more because I was not expecting the way Soma ended up winning. It was pretty cool to see them come up with the idea about temperature and everything, and honestly, I just love the way everyone was like, holy shit, what the hell? And no one expected it really, except Ishiki 100% knew from the start that she was going to end up losing to Soma. And that is, of course, pretty much the reason. So, honestly, Ishiki, just his whole time, like, once he said that she was going to lose, you knew for a fact that Soma could not lose. He was going to win no matter what. It was just pretty much in a matter of how he was going to end up winning. And I love the way they ended up coming up with his win. The reasoning why, of course. Because they could have just went like, oh, Nene's is amazing, but, Soma is just this completely original, different type of food that, soba that was just like, it just did the same amount or better, but it was different kind of thing, and that's why he won. But instead, it was because of the temperature, and it was the difference, of course, between, Soma's adaptability and, of course, Nene's just full-on tradition and the, learning from, a child that this way is the best way and the only way that you should be doing it. And that, of course, was the fall for her and the reason for her loss. So yeah, that's all I really gotta say about this chapter. I'm definitely excited to see what's gonna happen in the next one, since Ishiki had a lot of time just discussing, explaining stuff, while I'm pretty sure he should be cooking. So I'm not too sure if we're gonna see the process of them, during Ishiki and his opponents cooking, the third C and his opponents cooking, or we're just gonna go straight to the judging for them. And this is where I'm kind of not too sure on who's gonna win, because it honestly could be, I could see both of them losing or one of them winning and one of them losing. I cannot see them both winning, because that would just put the the rebels in such a good place that I don't see them losing, honestly, unless everyone ends up losing in the second round. So as much as I think, like, come on, these are two former, the third seed and the seventh seed, there's no way these two newcomers would end up winning. But that newcomer thing is the kind of like surprise that you would not expect them to end up beating them. So I could definitely see it happening. I think Ishiki's gonna end up winning, honestly. I can't see him losing, but I can definitely see that third seed, as amazing as he may be, because he was the third seed, he's somehow gonna lose, and everyone's gonna be like, holy shit, surprised as, just super surprised, because they did not expect this one guy who just came into Elite 10 later on to beat the former third seed, and thus because of that, he'll be a huge opponent for everyone in the next round, since he will be able to go again. And I think that's gonna be how it ends up happening. So yeah, I honestly can't wait to see these next chapters. Overall, I definitely enjoyed the Soma versus Nene battles, and can't wait to see more to come. So yeah, that's all I gotta say, guys. Hope you enjoyed this Anime Kingdom manga review. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. If there's anything I missed and you want to talk about, comment below as well. And if you did enjoy, don't forget to leave a like. If you haven't already, feel free to subscribe for more content. And as always, guys, I want to hear your guys' thoughts. How did you feel about this chapter? Did you think the same way as I did? Did you enjoy it? Did you not enjoy it? What are you anticipated for in the next chapters? And yeah, just whatever thoughts that you have about this chapter and the next ones. And until next time, guys, see ya.